I'm making homemade beef stew today, y'all. I know there are probably 200 different ways to make beef stew. I make mine the way I do for my family. I always gotta say that. I don't add celery to it. I don't put bay leaves in it. I just make it the way they like it. And I'm sure you have your own way of making it for your family to like. I tell you, I've had this onion chopper, tomato chopper, whatever you want to call it. This is an old one. I've had this since the boys were little. And they're in their 20s now, so I've had it for a while. I've already chopped some. It makes a loud noise. But it just chops them right up into little pieces. So now I've got those chopped up, and I'm going to go over to my Dutch oven and get the oil put in it, so I'll be right with you. Okay, I've got my stove lit. I'm going to put some avocado oil in my Dutch oven. Going to let that get heated up, and then I'm going to be putting my stew meat in. We buy our stew meat at Sam's when we go, and we get a big pack, and we divide it up into 2 meals worth, because there's 5 in our family. So you could probably, if it's just a couple of you or 3 people, you could probably divide this up and get more meals out of it than just 2. The bigger pieces I've cut into chunks, and I've put my flour in my bag, and I've shook this all up and stuff. And as soon as the grease gets hot enough, I'm going to put my beef stew meat in. My grease is hot enough now, so I'm going to put the rest of the stew meat in. I'm going to give that a little stir. I'm also going to go ahead and put my onion in. And I'm going to let the meat get brown. Then I'll be right back. Now this is still cooking, letting it get brown some more. I'm going to go ahead and put my seasonings in, some of them. I'm going to do some salt and pepper. And some garlic powder. Like I said before, I do not add celery to mine. My family doesn't like it, so I don't put it in. Okay, I'm going to put 6 cups of beef broth in here. Sometimes I use chicken broth and not the beef because we like it with both flavors. It really doesn't matter to us. So I'm going to put the 6 cups in. And now, I'm going to add in some W sauce, as I call it. I don't measure stuff when I make things like this. I had a 6-cup container of the beef broth, so that's why I went ahead and opened it. And I know it's 6 cups because it had it on the box. And that's what I've got put in. Smells good. Now, I'm going to let this cook for a little bit. And we'll let it come to a boil. And then I'm going to turn the heat down. My new stove, it doesn't have the numbers on the burners. It's just got high, medium, and low. So I have to kind of guess at where to turn it. But when it comes to a boil, I'm going to turn it on probably between low and medium, whatever that is. And I'm going to cover it. And I'm getting my carrots all grated now. I'm going to get those cut up, and the potatoes. And I've got a can of tomato paste I'm going to put in. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up these carrots and then the potatoes, and then I'll be back. Do any of y'all's mamas or moms scrape their carrots like this with a paring knife? This is exactly how my mom used to do it. Just scrape them. It does the job. And you know what? As long as it does the job, the old ways are still good. I'm going to go ahead before I cover it, and I'm going to put in a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. And I'm going to give this a stir. That smells so good. I don't even have the carrots and potatoes in yet. I'm just showing you me, aren't I? Sorry about that. Bless you, Lucy. Bless you, little Lucy Lou. Yes, she's a good girl. Okay, and then I'm going to cover it. I've got my carrots all cut up. Now I'm going to peel and cut up those potatoes. Now I've showed y'all before how I peel potatoes. I use a paring knife. I cannot use one of those vegetable peelers to peel potatoes with. And I've been cutting them like this since I was 11 years old. So I'm 72, gonna be 73 this year, so I've cut potatoes like this a long time. Now I'm just cutting my potatoes up in chunks. You can cut them however you want to. Doesn't really matter as long as you like them, your family likes them. So you can just cut them up any way you want to. I'm cutting chunks. Now I have added more beef broth to it. I thought, well, I think it needs a little bit more broth because I'm going to slow cook this for quite a while. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my carrots in because it takes carrots longer to cook than potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in. Probably about the last, I'm going to say, let's show you. I got these in. Well, I'm probably blocking it for you. I'm going to wait and put the potatoes in about the last 40-45 minutes. And then that will cook them in time plenty. I'm going to cover this and I'm going to let it simmer for about 60 minutes. And then I'm going to check it. And if that's, if it tastes okay then I'm going to get the potatoes put in, but I'll come back and show y'all. I've got my lid off now and I'm going to let this cook down some. It's, I just don't have the potatoes in yet, but that's okay. It's a little bit watery right now, thin. So I'm gonna cook it with the lid off, like I said, and let that kind of cook down. And then I'll be back. Now I've made a slurry I'm gonna add, and the slurry is just flour and cold water, equal parts. And you have to stir constantly when you're putting that in. I'm going to get the rest of this in here. This will help thicken this up. Try to get you in here, bring you up a little bit closer. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and get the potatoes in. And now, I'm just going to let this simmer. And it'll be good and done by the time my sweet Eric gets in from work. And I'll get that bread baked. It's not rising like it should be. I've got it sitting here close to the burner by the heat. So, we will see. I guess it's going to be okay if it doesn't like raise like this, as long as it still tastes good. So we'll see. Here's my beef stew. I haven't eaten today, so I'm going to go ahead and eat meat a little bit. Let it blow on it some. This is so good. I might make it unconventional from a lot of people, but we like how it is and how it turns out. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Sorry. Remember, it's going to be okay. And I love y'all.